Hi, thanks for joining today's meditation. My name is Maveen Kaura. Today we'll be looking at the question, can you attain enlightenment? Can you attain enlightenment? So hope you find yourself a nice comfortable seat. I'll try my best to see if it is possible for myself, yourself, and others like us to attain the enlightenment such as one person, such as the Buddha, or other figures in religion or in spirituality who have attained enlightenment through their work. So can one attain enlightenment? I believe it is possible for someone to attain enlightenment. I do also believe that it can take a multitude of lifetimes to do so. I don't think it's something that is doable in the first go around. But I guess if you don't believe in reincarnation and you were to attain enlightenment in this lifetime, you would probably believe that it is the first go around. So I could understand that as well. So I guess to attain enlightenment, what do you have to do? Do you have to quiet the mind? Do you have to stop eating meat? Do you have to become a vegetarian, a vegan? Should you eat meat, not eat meat? Should you give up all your worldly possessions? Should you do critical thinking? Should you question things around you? Should you spend most days in meditation or in contemplation of all the big questions of the world? It's possible you need to do all of that and much more, and none of that at the same time. I guess let's explore. In order to attain enlightenment, first you must understand, I guess, what enlightenment means to you. From the way I look at enlightenment, I guess enlightenment means to attain an understanding of the way the world works around you, how you fit into the world, how you interact with the world that's seen and unseen. Meaning, I'm here in Calgary, Alberta, there's somebody on the exact other side of the planet. Understanding that even because I cannot see how they are living, I have to do my best to understand how that being on the other side of the planet is living, suffering, being happy, enjoying their life, not enjoying their life. Understanding their experiences, even though I may not ever meet that person or persons. Enlightenment also means having the ability to understand the way every single creature on this planet is meant to coexist with each other and with us, and how we are meant to coexist with those same creatures, plants, trees, animals, the water, the solar system, everything. Understand how all of the elements of this world are supposed to coexist. Understand how all the different elements on the periodic table are supposed to coexist and work together and intermingle and not mingle at all. Once you start understanding things, not only just from your perspective, but from the perspective of other people, you start really taking ownership of what you do and how you fit into the lives of other people. You start looking at how do other people feel? How will somebody else feel? How should you make somebody feel? How would you feel if you were in that reverse situation? All of these things are there for you to start understanding yourself and understanding others. The way that I think we've all been, shown that we can attain enlightenment from what we know, all the different stories we've heard. I think the biggest and the most common story of enlightenment is of the Buddha, who gave up all his worldly possessions, gave up his name, his title, who he was, the son of a king, gave all that up, gave up his direct family, and started to live a life of solitude, to learn about himself. And then once he was able to learn about himself, started taking that knowledge and teaching others that knowledge. So he had to go inside first, and most probably had to get rid of all of that junk that was in his life, all the things that he was protected from: death, birth, decay, murder, assault, maybe some happiness even he could have been protected from, because as some of the noble truths go, suffering, happiness is suffering essentially too, because it eventually will disappear and you will suffer and long for more happiness, which can cause suffering over time. So can you find enlightenment? I've been using these meditations to not only understand who I am better, but in order to understand who the people I communicate with on a daily basis better as well. From my direct family, to customers, to friends, to people I have never met, to people I interact with in stores that don't even know me, that I walk by. It's being more aware when I'm walking by somebody, holding a door for somebody, thanking somebody. That awareness within is shown on the outside. Now, do other people recognize this? It doesn't really matter. I think it comes down to, do I recognize the things I'm doing to make myself, number one, more aware and bring about that personal enlightenment that I am looking for? So far, I've been on a journey of, I'd say, about 530 meditations in a row. Those meditations have taught me quite a bit. I've been meditating for years and years and years, but never this consistent. I've never done 530 days in a row. That's what I'm at today. And I believe that my ability to understand others is probably a little bit better than it ever was. I feel more calm. I feel more loving towards others. I try to be more empathetic to more people. I try to understand their situation. I don't always understand where they're coming from, and that's part of being aware, awakening, and finding that enlightenment. It will come over time. That's why it's a journey. If I could find it 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, absolutely I'd be living a different lifestyle, a different life of enlightenment. But it's my journey, it's my experience, it's my understanding of what enlightenment is to get me to that place. And each experience that I have and you have are going to get us to that place of enlightenment, regardless of how long it takes. If I have to live another 100, 200 lifetimes in order to attain that enlightenment, I may never know that I was born and reborn. But I do believe the more you get closer to that enlightenment or that state of nirvana, you do start feeling and understanding your past lives. If you believe in it, no problem. If you don't believe in it, no problem. This is my belief. That's what I feel. That in your enlightenment, you start understanding your past lives, and you start understanding that you've lived these past lives and that you've come all the way to this point, whatever that point is. For myself, I find that I am very different in my thoughts, in the way I think, the way I talk. Many times I even surprise myself on the way I say certain things, what I'm saying. Even people say, oh, well, that's pretty smart, or that was pretty interesting. I never really thought of it that way. You know, it's understanding that you can awaken other people by finding that enlightenment within yourself, and then passing that, just small little nuggets of enlightenment, to other people. Maybe that will spark them to find that further and future enlightenment for themselves one day. Can I meditate 24 hours a day? No, not really. I don't think I could sit here all day long and meditate. Would I like to, meditate 2-3 hours a day? Yeah, I'd love to get to that point one day where I can meditate for a few hours at a time and really use my mind and the energy within my body to not only travel the world, travel the universe, but to maybe travel to different destinations within our planet, meet different people, understand and watch how they're living, and understand how that impacts me, even though I may never be able to see that person. You know, something like simple as, let's say you're buying a pair of shoes that were made in China, and as an example, not saying anything bad or good against China, just using it as an example, because a lot of things are made in China. So let's say you're buying a pair of shoes, and those shoes cost you $500, but those shoes really cost $20 to make by one person. Really understanding what that difference of profit margin, really understanding what that person maybe took home, maybe only $2 a day, as an example. Not saying that's what happened, just using this as an example. So let's say that person's making $2 a day, you know, barely making it, and I'm supporting that. I have to start to understand, and as you start waking up to what's really happening in the world, a world that, you know, 99% of that world you cannot see. You're only being told what that world is about through social media, through the news, through the newspaper, through talking to other people. You're not really getting to experience that world firsthand. Most people, you know, live in one city, maybe travel within that area, you know, let's say 100, 200 miles or kilometers even from wherever they live. That's usually a typical traveling distance for most people. You know, most people may travel to different countries, maybe a week or 2 weeks at a time based on vacations, but most people will not go and visit the remote parts of the world, or will not leave the resorts when they get there. So they see that this one place that they travel to, for example, let's say Jamaica, they travel there, they stay on the resorts and believe that's what that country must be about. They're not out there really exploring how the people really live in that country. So the enlightenment is potentially only an enlightenment based on what they're seeking, or maybe not even understanding of what they are seeking. They're just seeing it. They may or may not judge what they see. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they're not at the point of wanting to be fully enlightened and understand how everybody works together and connected, or maybe they do and they're taking a break from it. It's hard to say. All I can really say to you is I do believe that finding enlightenment is possible. I'm 43 years old. I've done my meditations for years, but only consistent since the pandemic, realistically. I hope to stay consistent. I hope not to miss any days. I don't want to start over again and start redoing my meditations. In that sense, I don't want to lose my count, I guess, right? It's more for myself now to keep that count going forever and ever and ever. Will counting help me reach enlightenment? No. Will the consistency help me reach enlightenment? No. It's what I'm doing in that meditation or understanding or in this type of talk, and listening to it again and listening to myself talk about it and really just formulating my thoughts. That's what's going to help attain that enlightenment either now or down the road for myself or for others. There are numerous amount of authors, book writers, podcasters, etc., other spiritual beings and teachers who have reached, I believe, nirvana or enlightenment to different degrees, because they've spent the time not only to learn themselves, but the world around them. Even people like Eckhart Tolle have wrote books on the new earth and how everything works together and about dropping the ego. And once the ego is dropped, I believe what he's saying is it is possible to find enlightenment at the end of the tunnel, but the ego will keep us separated and try to keep us separated from other people by not allowing us to want us to understand anything about them, really comparing ourselves to them, keeping us butting heads against them. But once you're able to understand that it's all your ego, you can let that go and then start seeing that we are all one and start working towards attaining that enlightenment that you hope to achieve in this lifetime or another. Do I feel as though I will attain enlightenment before I die? I believe just having this talk is a step forward to attaining some sort of enlightenment. I think just even getting to this point where I am today is probably more than I probably ever imagined. As a kid, people told me I was stupid, I was dumb, I was slow, I didn't understand things, but it doesn't matter what they thought. I believe I've done all the things I needed to do to get myself to this place today. What enlightenment looks like for me is going to look very different for somebody else. I don't think anybody can tell you what enlightenment will look like. I think you will only know when you've attained it. And when you do attain it, I believe you will look at things differently. You'll treat people differently. You'll treat the earth differently. You'll treat the animals on this earth differently. You will treat, I think, even yourself differently. I think you'll have more respect for yourself and respect for others. Let me know in the comments below if you feel that you can attain enlightenment or have attained enlightenment, or what type of enlightenment you have already attained thus far. Let me know. I'd love to read about that. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed this talk. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this talk with anybody else that you feel could enjoy another perspective on enlightenment. Thank you so much. Have yourself a fantastic day.